Boy, I'm excited about this one, ladies and gentlemen, because our guest, one of the true living legends in the backyard, in the underground wrestling circuit, boy, he's definitely not dead yet. And he's going to talk about that. I'm going to tell you why he's not dead, and he ain't going to ever be dead. Well, at least until he eventually dies. I mean, he did talk about everybody being reunited, but we'll get to that for a later day. We'll certainly get into some other stuff as well. We'll talk about that historic show a few short weeks ago in beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where it was certainly proven that the GBYW and BYW Link show, it's not dead yet. We're going to talk about that Scott Henson tribute, which was, boy, that was one of the best tributes I ever saw. And was that Billy Squire play? We'll certainly maybe get into that. But we'll also talk about what our guest felt returning to the ring, seeing old friends, familiar faces, and the emotions that went into this historic show, one of the greatest shows, one of the greatest super shows in backyard and underground wrestling history. And he's certainly going to talk about a number of different topics. And what's next? What's next for Mr. Sick Rick? He'll, I'm sure, answer that. Maybe not, but I'm sure we're going to be back also next month because, well, we don't have any matches yet really to fully talk about, but we do have that tribute. We have some feelings. We have your comments and who knows, whatever else. But after all, since we are in prime time, the brightest lights, the biggest stage, a platform that Sick Rick and his friends in the GBYW and the BYW Link helped build, Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. And I know last time on the Golden Triangle Media YouTube page, they posted my introduction. Now, last time I had Sick Rick on, my voice I thought was sick, but now my voice is 100%. I'm 100%. I'm the best my voice has ever felt in months. Maybe it's because I finally cracked 1,000 subscribers, 1,100, 1,200, 1,250, but it's not about me. Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll have my moment in the sun. You'll roast me. Sick Rick maybe will roast me. Forget about all of that. But it is time to give this living legend the introduction that he deserves. And I think it's going to be the better introduction than the one he got last month on Sportswire Radio. So let's give him that introduction and get this show on the road because we all, after all, are in prime time. So with wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report. Number one. Global Sports Show. One of the all-time greats in the GBYWN BYW Link. He's the owner of Golden Triangle Media, the man that just put together one of the greatest super shows in backyard and underground wrestling history. He's definitely not dead yet, but his name is simply put, Sick My friend, how are we doing?
I could not be doing better after that, man. That was 5-star banger. That was absolutely perfect. Dave Meltzer's giving you 6 in the Tokyo Dome, dude.
I don't know about that. I know there's a new thing in backyard wrestling where they're doing rankings. I've said we're not going to rank me, but that I did feel was my better intro compared to the one you got last month, because I'm at 100% actually. When last time you had me, I was like a rundown car, but enough about that. I mean, how are we doing? First of all, let's get into that.
Man, just got off the emotional roller coaster, like riding the incredible high for months of setting that show up, and then it happens, and then we get back home, and it's just back to being me again, like I've returned to being a human and not necessarily a wrestling booker. and like all the vibes have like been put out there by all the friends and everybody talking about how special the weekend was to them and everything. But it's weird that it's a was now and it's not like is going to be, you know, because we talked so long about like what the weekend was going to end up meaning to us, and now it's something that has happened already. It's in the past, so it's like weird coming to terms with that. But I mean, in general, man, you know, living life, feeling great, shoulders recovering a little bit
You look
because
good. I mean, you
Marcus
look
said,
better than last month. I saw you last month compared to now. You actually look better, if that's possible.
I know I feel better, man. Like I was really stressed out. I was under the gun. I was trying to figure out all these last minute arrangements and stuff I had to accomplish before the show, and I'm able to breathe now, so that's a good thing. But the shoulder's in rough shape because Marcus Centofonte did a number on me.
Well, we can talk a little bit about it, but I can't talk about a lot of these matches because we haven't seen them. Now, next month, obviously, when some of them are posted, we'll watch them on the air. We'll get into them. But I do want to ask, I'm going to make you chuckle. I did like the Monday Night Raw shirt, by the way, you came out with.
The Monday Night Roar. Yeah, that's a Scott Henson shirt. That's a parody from him. Fucking what a dude, man. Like that's the crazy thing is that like we're all friends with each other. And so we all bought our friends' merchandise. So everybody there was wearing Scott Henson shirts and Alex Zane shirts, and you know, list goes down and down of all the people there wearing each other's shirts, which was really cool. But I'd say the Scott Henson shirts were probably one out of every third person had one on.
How emotional was that when you come out and then you do the Scott Henson tribute? I mean, we'll put it up on the screen in a few minutes, but that's obviously what's up right now on the Golden Triangle Media YouTube page. I mean, how emotional was that when you put that video out and everybody there? I mean, you could see just everybody there that what it meant and such.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was so making it was really difficult. Making it was
Sure.
hard because I had to sit here and watch 150 hours worth of footage and find the clips and cut them all down and figure out how it worked with the song and doing all that. And the entire time, every time I move a clip, I'm like, does this clip represent a friend of mine in the best way that like, you know, it's hard to try and put what somebody means to you into a 4-minute backyard wrestling music video, and not just what he meant to me, but like what he meant to everybody in our community, because he truly is like the godfather of backyard wrestling. Like he was the guy with the insight and the initiative and the aspirations for it to be something much bigger than just some dudes jumping around in a backyard. Like he is a cornerstone of the starting of our community. So trying to sum that up in 4 minutes with just clips that are left laying around over the course of the years it was a tough task to undertake. But whenever I finally got it and I showed it to a couple people before the show, just to like catch vibes, you know, like I sent it to a couple of his close friends in Vancouver, just to see what they thought of it. And like the initial reaction was just like, we appreciate you. Like that was so much work. You did a great job. So like whenever I got that kind of reaction, I was excited to show it with the guys, you know, and like play it to start the show and give everybody an opportunity to like just embrace the memory of Scott for a little bit. And pretty much as soon as it started playing, man, like the energy in the room was like it was like
What a venue, by the way, you guys had. I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, what you guys put. I feel like I saw what you guys had stage wise was better than I seen like pro wrestling shows. To be honest.
yeah. So I mean, one of the best parts about this place that we got was it's already like an internet wrestling show place.
Okay.
It is 880 Wrestling, run by T2T, and it is MV Young's place of business, really. So he rented it out to us, but he already had stage lights set up and music and the projector. All that was all him. It's already it's ready to go. So we formed a really good relationship with us or with him, and he rented the building to us for the weekend. But the building being what it is allowed us to be able to use the projector and play the video and watch it with everybody. And like it's weird because it's like it was electric for there only being 60 people there, but it was like
I didn't feel like I would have thought you guys had like 600 to 1,000 at least. I mean,
right.
the way that crowd was and the venue you guys were in, I was like, boy, am I watching like MLW instead of GBYW and BYW Link? It's not dead yet.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And like the electricity and the sadness at the same time during that Scott Henson thing, it was just such a weird energy, and not in a bad way. It was a good thing.
Mhm.
But it was it's like you normally whenever you feel that kind of vibe, there's like noise associated with it, but this time it was like silence, except for the song that was playing, you know.
Sure.
So it was like it was really strange and surreal. And then when the video is done playing, you like realize that your friend's not there. Like this
Yeah.
video was all I could do, you know.
Let
And
me ask you a hypothetical on that. How do you
yeah,
think he would have felt seeing the presentation the way it was? I know it's kind of like a loaded question, but
yeah.
how do you think he
Um,
would have felt?
you know, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I think that he really enjoyed being the big fish in the small pond of backyard wrestling. Like he didn't need the indie circuit. He didn't need 60,000 followers on Twitter. Like he had presence. I mean, he was on podcasts and stuff, so
Sure.
people knew of him. But I think the backyard wrestling community was his home. I think that's what he loved. So being so admired and respected and talked well of, and having his backyard wrestling career shown off in the manner that we were able to do it for him and the way that people reacted to it, I think he would have loved it. Especially because like I received a copy of his hard drive a couple months before he passed away because he was
Oh
trying
wow.
to uh I was trying to preserve the media, and I reached out to him. I said, "Is there anything you got left over?" And he's like, "I actually got this hard drive that I can like copy and send to you just in case anything ever happens." And I'm like, "Great, do it." And then unfortunately a couple months later he was gone, which is crazy. But in that hard drive were multiple music videos that I made. So I know that he like appreciates my art style and how I went about doing things,
Oh,
you
you
know.
did a hell of a job. I mean, let me just from what we saw, we'll put it up in a little bit. But I mean, you definitely went above and beyond the means, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And wrapping up the music video, we did like a 10 bell salute, and
Yes. But
we
now
had
I
the
have to ask you: was that a cat going off? Was like what
it,
happened there?
it was a 10 cat meow salute because in the world of Scott Henson, no joke is off limits. So if we take
Ah,
the
because I was
most,
wondering about that when I watched, and I watched it twice. I'm like, is that a cat?
yeah. So if you take what's supposed to be the most somber, serious moment in like a wrestler's eulogy or whatever, it's supposed to be the 10 bell salute.
Yes,
And
obviously.
because of Scott being who he is, he was the cat guy, you know. So taking an opportunity to turn it into a cat joke is absolutely something that he would appreciate. So I went for it, and I think it played really well because you see half the crowd crying about it and the other half the crowd laughing about it, and I think it played.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool in a way. It gives everybody at least a light in the mood moment. Let me ask you a hypothetical. As we're here with the legendary Sickrick, of course, he's the owner of Golden Triangle Media. We'll put some links up in a minute. Also, we have some merchandise I'd like you to go out there and support. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in here. But was that one of the most difficult things you've had to have done in your career to put together that video package?
Oh, it was the most because the pressure that's associated with it. Like if I was gonna do it and play it for the boys, I had to knock it out of the park. So
Sure.
I tried things that I'd never tried before when making music videos, and like I stuck to only using matches that I had the full match footage of, so that I could
Mm.
use sound effects and crowd reactions and commentary and stuff on top of it. And knowing that almost every frame was going to be scrutinized to an extent by the people there because everybody there, their eyes are going to be glued to this video for 4 minutes straight. So I went out of my way to make sure that if I could take a clip of somebody that was going to be there and put it in. So, like, for example, one of his moves is a Blue Thunder Bomb, right? So if
Mm.
I have a clip of him doing the Blue Thunder Bomb to somebody that was actually going to be at the show as opposed to a random person, I would throw the one of him doing it to the guy that's at the show, just to make sure that everybody
Ah.
there was equally invested, you know? Um, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of like heartache. It was crazy, man. It was
Did
a
you shed
very
a tear
difficult
at all?
task.
Did you
Yeah,
shed a tear at
absolutely.
all when you put it
Yeah.
together?
Once whenever I first walked out, and then once again after the video was done playing and I tried to talk about it. And then luckily there was like a spot that got botched with the 10 bell being played a little bit early, which allowed me to break that. And I was able to like come back to reality real
Well,
quick.
did say, would it be a backyard wrestling show without something like that? Was that what is that the line you used? I think if I'm not
Yeah, it,
mistaken.
it wouldn't be a backyard wrestling show without the spot getting blown, man. It has to happen.
Yeah, pretty much. I wouldn't disagree with that. I watch all I do is watch backyard wrestling these days, so I could certainly say that's a good point there. But okay, let me ask you one more question on the situation. Again, obviously it's emotional and it's such. When you walk into the building, the first minute you get there, was it everything you anticipated it to be? I asked you this question last month. What was it going to be like when you showed up in there? But when you finally get there on that date, September the 28th, did it match what you thought it would be? And tell me why or why not.
So I don't necessarily remember what my answer was to that question because it was a whirlwind at the time. But if I'm thinking back on it, I probably said something like it was just going to be love amongst friends, you know, and
You
that is
talked about the friendship, seeing people you hadn't seen for a long time. You talked about basically everything that's been put into this one moment. You guys were all reunited. It had been 10 years. And then
yeah.
you get there. And then what was the feeling then when you finally get to the building? I know a lot of people are in the chat, and I'll get to them in a little while. Just hang on. But talk to me about that.
Um. So luckily, we started gathering the day before at the party church up the street, and we rented
Okay.
this giant church B&B, and we housed like 20 people in there,
Oh
and we
wow.
all partied the entire weekend. It was great. But a lot of us met up on Friday, so it wasn't like an emotional rush in the moment of seeing these people for the first time because it was like a steady trickle over the course of 18 or so hours, you know.
Right.
But whenever I'm standing in the production nest upstairs, and I'm like, all right, I got to go give this opening address. Let's time to run it. And I tell everybody to turn the cameras on, and I go stand downstairs, and my music starts playing, and I start to get like the butterflies a little bit. I'm like, oh my, like I'm doing this show right now, like it is currently happening to me, and I have to go out there and talk to these people. And there's no curtain on our entranceway that we had,
Hmm.
so I was looking at everybody, pretending like they weren't looking at me because they were pretending there's a curtain there, you know? So like everybody's like, "Oh, where's Rick? He's gonna come out soon, I'm sure." Um, so I walk through, and as soon as I step through, every dude in the building pops for me. And I have never been a babyface in my life. Every time I've ever wrestled, I wouldn't say every time, 75% of the time that I wrestled, I've been a heel. And every time that I've ever been at a big show, I've been a heel. So it's never been like I have never walked through the curtain and gotten that type of response before. So to get that whenever I was already emotional, it put me on like cloud 37, man. Like my head was through the top of the
Do
building.
you
I didn't
think
know how
that
to
you got
react to
that
it.
kind of reaction because this was a show that transcended a lot of what 10, 15 years ago was?
Absolutely, yeah. I think a big part of it has to do with Eric Keller a lot more than Sick Rick. I don't think that anybody gave a damn about who I was as a wrestler or anything. I think a lot of it was this is the guy that just gave an entire year of his life to make this weekend happen for us, and like they were showing me appreciation, you know, like we love you, thank you for bringing us back together. That's what it felt like, you know.
Well, it was what you did. I'm going to say it objectively speaking. I know we know each other just for a short time, relatively speaking, but to do what you did to get people together that hadn't been in a ring or really hadn't seen each other in the better part of a decade, I mean, that's a difficult feat. So what you did, I mean, it is really, and I don't just say it. I know people say, oh, you say this, and that, but that is really one of the most impressive feats. And it's one of the greatest super shows in history to the fact that you had guys that hadn't wrestled or hadn't seen each other in about a decade. And to be able to pull that off, to have that many people show up, that many matches, and to have the kind of response that you did, I mean, that's no small feat. That's a testament to your character. That's a testament to your determination. That's also a testament to those guys that believed in you enough that they might have been, I know guys joked about it in the video packages. They were dads, they were families, they got jobs. But the fact that they believed in it so much that this happened. So I think it's a credit to your determination, your leadership, your steadfast drive to go out there and say, yeah, not only we're not dead yet, we ain't going away anytime soon, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was going to point to is that like people's willingness to believe in me and see my vision and like we like what, and that's always been the case with me, and I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason whenever I present something as an idea, I give it 100% and everybody believes that I'm giving it 100%. So there's never been a time where I tried to hold a show that it didn't go the way that I expected it to, outside of one where everybody got sick and canceled and cars broke down and it was just a terrible weekend. But
Well, it happens.
for the most part, I've had some like extremely successful situations just by putting it out there that this is going to be a successful situation. Like, here, come to Pittsburgh. It's going to be great. Follow my lead. I promise you it'll be good. And it just works. And I don't have an answer for why it works, but I just know that for whatever reason, for me, it seems to.
Well, it definitely worked out. And first of all, let me give a plug to our friends at Golden Triangle Media, because if you want to help them out, you want to go support them, there is no better way than going and buying a shirt. You can do that here in the Pro Wrestling Tees page. I have the link right up here. It's backspace GT Media. You got the reunion shirt. You got the reunion show indie. It's not dead yet. I mean, some great stuff. Only $20. $20. Listen, you want to go out to the movies? It's going to cost you an arm and a leg. You want to go watch the baseball game going on right now? It's going to cost you 10 times that. You want to watch a football game? Steelers is going to cost you tenfold that. But all you have to do is to support our friends like Sick Rick and so many else in Golden Triangle Media, especially those who were at that historic GBYW and BYW Link Super Shows. Buy a shirt, and I'm going to be buying my shirt in the next few weeks. I want to, because at this point, Sick Rick, all I own, Sick Rick, is wrestling shirts, so I might as well add another shirt to the collection. Because literally, I mean, my mother gets married 5 months ago now. She's probably going to hear this and definitely not going to want to show up to my own 1,000 subscriber show on Sunday. But I even wear a wrestling shirt to that. I mean, all I do is wear wrestling shirts. I mean, at this point, I mean, I hope I die in a wrestling shirt. So why don't I just add another one to the collection? And we'll certainly do that. But I know a lot of people want to talk to you. I think they're chomping at the bit. So let me get to the chat. We'll put up some of the stuff in a little bit as well. But a lot of people I know want to talk to you. And I feel like if I don't, I'm going to, have a heart attack from the guys at me. But this man who's been waiting, he messaged me. He's been waiting for this for a while. The legendary Sean Jovi, of course, the one and only resident rock star. Used to be America's resident rock star, but he's just back to being a resident rock star. But he was very excited about this one, as you could see.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah. Sean loves us being together. I think he feels like he played a big. Well, I don't think he feels like it. He did. He played a big part in getting you and I together to be.
Yes, he did. Without Sean Jovi, I wouldn't have listened. I mean, I have a lot of respect for you. I respect everybody, but I wouldn't have had the connection without Sean Jovi. So that's just a simple fact. Absolutely. This is a man really that he supported me for almost 2.5 years. This is a man that he is probably has the most appearances in my platform's history of being on Sportswire. So, if he says something, I'm going to listen. I'm going to jump and say how high, but I don't get high, but I'll definitely try to jump as high as I can.
Right.
Trying a career at stand-up comedy because I'm getting ready to retire now that I got to 1,000 subscribers. But he's very excited.
Yeah, you got to pass the microphone to me and let me take over Sportswire.
Well, I'm glad finally somebody wants to take over the microphone. So maybe you can take it over after Sunday. Maybe it's time to call it quits. Because, guys in sports can't get it right. Michael Jordan thought he had it. Tom Brady thought he had it. Not too many of them can figure it out. John Elway is one of the few, but maybe it is time for me to retire on top. Let me get to the chat here. Zilla, who has become the resident chatter, the resident super fan of the current BYW, would like to say hello to you. And she says hello to Sean Jovi. Nicholas Crenton, of course, is very excited about this. He'll be in the house Thursday night. And let's see who else we got. Hey, fans, I think I know who this is. How you doing? Nice to see you. Nice to see you, too. Another person that I think you definitely know says hello. Yes, it's not dead yet. It's not dead yet. Yes, fantastic.
Well, I love IN Skull DY, man. Eric's coming in with the heat.
Well, we got a lot more comments. So let me get to everybody now because I see people are really tuning in right now. I actually almost on the air when I was interviewing a British promoter thought my voice almost cracked, and it was like, oops, and it was like I got my voice back. So it happens. Yes, thank you for that. Can't wait to see It's Not Dead Yet Media. It definitely looked like a blast. I'm going to play the Scott Henson tribute in a few minutes. We'll get into that. Ox McCoy is in the house, of course, another veteran in the BYW circuit, in the IMF. We like to say legends. He's talking about shoot, not me. But thank you very much for the kind words.
On there, buddy.
I would say just it's checks in the mail for him. Okay. I want to see me get kicked in the eye. I don't know if I have that footage. Chris. Yeah, I don't know if I have that footage right now on the YouTube.
We don't have it yet. We'll get there.
Well, next month, let's say next month we'll have it. How does that sound? And we'll get some of the guys if they'd like to come on and talk about their experience. certainly it would open the door for them. Yes, hello there. Hello. Yes, let's see who else is in the chat. Yeah, so there's a thing called the BYW Hub, and they rank like today's current backyard and underground wrestlers, and it's divided some people because some people say trampoline can't be in it. Other people say it's got to be this person and that person. So I just say that I don't rank anybody, and everybody can go out and figure it out themselves. And come on to Sportswire, and you can tell me more because I know nothing about wrestling. But obviously, it's a joke. But there will be more. Yes, there will be. D'Angelo the Flame. Speaking of people that wasn't too far from you guys this past weekend, he was in Buffalo, New York, at his own Super Show. He was here at the Shockies party. Yep. How you doing, D'Angelo?
Looks like a good-looking man, dude.
He's wrestled in the Indies. He's got a few indie matches under his belt. He's tall. He's got energy. I mean, you guys would have had a field day with him. He is real raw energy, and he is the All Wrestling Matters World Champion, by the way.
Oh, it makes all the sense. Look at him.
I had nothing to do with that, wink and a nod. Yeah, I know nothing about wrestling. Yes, well, I'm going to talk about Mr. Centofanti. I'm going to definitely talk about him, but I can't talk about the outcome, but I can talk about him, wink and a nod. Yes, Monday Night Raw, and not to be confused with that Katy Perry song, but we'll move on here. I want to say hello to my friend, Mr. Torrance Banks. Torrance, it was nice meeting you on Saturday's Shockies Party Preview. I'm doing good, my man. Nice to see you. Very emotional. Couldn't agree more. D'Angelo the Flame says hello. Zilla says hello. Yeah, I definitely agree, Chris. It did feel like 600 people. From what I saw in the package, I could not agree with you more. Definitely agree on that. LaFlame was good. Yes, he is a very good talent, and D'Angelo loves to say that. And a man that obviously is another favorite of mine who wants to say something. I'm going to say his name is Rad Hazard at the moment because it's not yet. Wasn't. Yeah, I'm gonna call him Rad Hazard, but he did have the emo promo there. He had that was definitely emo. Like, was he going for the Newfound Glory vibe, or was that something else he was going for? It was a joke.
Dude, he dug so deep for those 15 minutes. I don't even know how he came up with that, but a lot of it was speaking from the heart. So
I mean, he spoke about his grandparents. He spoke about his parents. He talked about the move from Las Vegas. He talked about graduating high school. He talked about it. I mean, this was really, I would hope, right? I'm going to say this because I know Mr. Rad Hazard is certainly, I would hope, would like to come back to Sportswire. But if you are a wrestler out there in the backyard, in the underground wrestling circuit especially, and I'm going to put it up in a few minutes, you need to go to Golden Try Media and watch that 15-minute promo. Because this was one of the greatest promos in backyard and underground. I'll even say it. It's one of the greatest promos in wrestling history because the fact 15 minutes. He went 15 minutes. He went the distance, to quote a famous boxing announcer years ago. He used to always say, Steve Albert. He went the distance. Rad Hazard went the distance on this promo. You got to check it out. We'll put the link up in a few minutes. And he said, thank you for bringing back that feeling.
And he messaged me with the video at first, and he's like, I'm thinking about cutting this up into some parts, making it more digestible, maybe trimming some stuff. I said, absolutely do not do that. Post it exactly how it is. Tell your story the way you want to. Don't worry about how viewable it is or it going viral. Tell your story exactly how you need to tell your story. And I think he killed it. I think he knocked it out of the park. And it sucks because it is 15 minutes, so I know a lot of people didn't watch all of it, but I
actually did.
The people who did watch all of it got a good story.
It was a great story, and I shared it on YouTube today. I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend anybody to do that. Let me ask you one follow-up on that. When guys were going out and promoting the show or cutting the promos on the YouTube channel, did they ask you for your thoughts, or were you tempted at all to tinker anything? I'm just curious on that for the audience.
No, so like myself and Centofanti obviously bounced off of each other.
Well, that's other people that were, but the rest of everybody else.
Other people that were cutting promos. I mean, that's the beautiful part about backyard wrestling, man. It's like we're out here all playing in our own sandbox. So who am I to tell you what you should and shouldn't be talking about? Like, I decided a couple winners because I was booking stuff and I wanted things to go a certain way. But for the most part, I mean, I just told people to have fun, play in your sandbox, dude. This is what backyard wrestling is all about. You want to cut a promo being funny, you want to do one being serious, do whatever you want. But a lot of people did, like, after they cut it, like, hey, what do you think about this before I post it? And I'm like, it's great. Everything you do is great. Everything everybody does is great.
That's how I feel sometimes with sports, where, you know, guys message me, I'll watch the promo and, most of the time I'll say, yeah, I loved it. It was great. I do watch them. I just don't want to tell anybody that, it's not good because you feel like people put their heart into it. But thank you for confirming that. It's Not Dead Yet was an experience, and I forgot to get video. think from his own catalog for you to have. So he did want to point that out.
Yeah, so I brought the entire history of backyard wrestling with me to this show, offered to transfer it to people that brought their own hard drives, but I wasn't really taken up on it. And
Why
I
not?
think part of that has to do with because in my match, Marcus Sentafonte destroyed the backyard wrestling Bible hard drive.
Oh,
But
well,
but it was actually just a gimmick. Like it was a gimmicked hard drive just to make you think he destroyed it. So I think a few people took that literally and like, damn, like I was gonna get that. All right, well, I guess our history's gone now. It's like no, it was all part of the play.
Okay, well, let me get to some more comments here. I had a lot of people here tuned in. Very happy about that. The 10 meow salute. The 10 meow salute. That is a very clever name, and it sounded like I think we'll see more of it one day. Who knows? Yes, you definitely did knock it out of the park. Couldn't agree more. Zilla's saying hello to everybody. Let's see to some more comments. Happy Pink Taco Tuesday. Yes, my friend Devin Laster. Yes, hello again from Tucson, Arizona. How you doing out there? Sick Rick is the man. AMC, Florida BY Wrestling.
Yeah, AMC's a good dude. He wrestled for us a couple times. Had the best match I've ever seen him have on day 2 against former Ring of Honor champion Tony Deppen.
Yes, we talked about Tony when you were here last month, correct?
And I love my man. I just wish he wouldn't have put a K on the sick, but outside of that, AMC is a great person. Fucking good.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely say not to be confused with the rapper there, but let's move on here. Let me get to a man that is actually 1/3 of a company that I own, who is my champion, Mr. Justin Parsley. He said, heard lots about Sick Rick and GBYWM. It's cool that it's all coming back around. Thanks for your contributions to our industry and giving back in our current era. God bless you and yours. Justin makes a good point because he's one of those guys that was around in your era, but didn't maybe quite make the connection. But in this era, in this new era, he's become one of these big names. In your era, though, he probably didn't make the connection, but probably, intersected with you guys. But it's nice to see that he is recognizing you guys today because he would have been technically a peer of yours.
Yeah, so I actually just recently learned of Justin through I was watching Remy's vlogs.
Yes. Remy was at Summer Bash with Justin. I think they traveled to Summer Bash or after Summer Bash.
Yeah, I was watching those vlogs with my girlfriend the other day because she's from out that way.
Okay.
And she is familiar with Remy and Justin and these people. So we were watching them together, and she was filling me in. And that was the first time I had heard of them. But I'm sure that they're doing good things out there. And where is it? Shelbyville, I guess it is.
Yeah. Well, Justin also wrestled in a couple of. He's been in Michigan. He's been in Iowa. So he's becoming a staple across the Midwest. So he's certainly putting his foothold into other places now. But yes, they're in Shelbyville as well, but a few other places. Remy as well. They were a part of the Summer Bash show, which Jovi was a part of. Jovi and Nicholas Crenton, who were in the chat, were a part of that. So a lot of the guys were in the Summer Bash show that took place this past summer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I literally as soon as I was done with It's Not Dead Yet, I hopped on a plane and I was in Shelbyville for 3 days. So I was
Wow. Okay. Well, I won't ask you about that, but I will get to a lot more comments because we'll leave that at that. A lot of people want to talk to you. I'm very happy about that. Me and the Florida dudes flew there in a hurricane. Yes, and I want to say, obviously, everybody, please be safe. I know I have a cousin down there who just posted he was okay. I know a few people I know were in Florida, and we definitely hope you're safe and sound, and hopefully you didn't have much damage. But definitely glad you got a chance to go out there and the dedication to go out there in the hurricane. And we're glad that you had a great time. Yeah, okay, we'll move on. Yes, those flights around a hurricane. Yes, ask the New York Mets about it. They actually got stuck in that. But then again, it worked out for them. They're still playing in the National League Championship Series. But we'll move on. We won't talk baseball. We'll talk wrestling here. But buy the merch. Yes, that's the plan. Band, sports, and wrestling tees. Yes, that's kind of been my life. I mean, I did street team once upon a time for the band Anthrax. I covered college sports, and now I'm in backyard wrestling. Yeah, pretty much sounds like my life story there. Love me some Chris Carnage. There you go. And he's here. Love me some Rad Hazard. Speaking of backyard wrestling veterans that will be here tomorrow night, the one and only James Taylor. We'll be watching some of his matches from like 1998 and 2000, even before your time, though. Don't worry, he's way before your time. 2000,
Yeah, I was
98.
still watching Rugrats back then, dude.
Well, he was out there in the ring with blonde hair, and he was running around, and he's gonna watch some of that match with me, his memories from those glory years, and he wants to say hello from one GBYW veteran to another. But now he does TikToks about Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's got like 90,000 followers on TikTok, so he definitely graduated from the backyard wrestling circuit. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on him, man.
Yeah, he definitely did okay. I'm up to yeah, definitely. Message me if you're on Instagram or Facebook. I'm Instagram at the Sports Report 2021, Facebook at Tom Bryce. If we're not friends already, we can be friends, and hopefully it's not dead yet. Yes, hello to James Taylor, the one and only James Taylor. Yes, thank you, Zilla. Hello there from McFreer93. Thank you, McFreer.
Oh, Mike Damage is here? How did that happen, man?
I think the word travels. Well, listen. We have 1,000+ subscribers now on Sportzwire. Like you come in here. Last time you were here, I was at like 910. Now I'm at 1,250 because my home community, a woman in my home community, got me 200 subscribers. So now everybody, you're on Sportswire. I have people that have never thought I could do a podcast. All of a sudden, Mr. Rick, in the last. Oh, you're still doing the podcast? Wow, I didn't realize you made it. Congratulations. So now all of a sudden, everybody wants to watch my shows.
Well, that's great news for me because I'm getting all the publicity out of it. I get to come here, talk about stuff I love, and people are seeing my face. So that's
it's a win-win for everybody, and more people are here. The Beast Snow.
Snow, that's day one, brother, man. Drop the awakening symbol in the chat. I love Brandon. Great guy. Ohio.
Love Ohio.
You love Ohio. Absolute legend. He wrestled in both the Rad Hazard Elimination Chamber Championship match on Saturday, and then he wrestled in the GBYWN Tag Team title match on Sunday.
Oh, my goodness. Boy, another man that, like I said, if you were here right now and you were from the matches that took place, you want to come on Sportswire, I am all yours in the month of November on. So if anybody wants to come on, you're more than welcome.
He does a lot of work on his own podcast. He does the one podcast to eventually rule them all, Top Turtle, on YouTube. And
whatever it is, I'm all game at this point. I'm all game. So whatever it is, let me know. And after the show, I'll talk to you and we'll make something out of something. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, the trampoline, it's been big these last couple of months. I mean, to me, listen, wrestling's wrestling. Not everybody can afford a $5,000 ring. That's the way I look at it. But there are people that put themselves on a pedestal, but tonight's not the night for that debate. Tonight's not the night for the debate. But thank you. I want to say hello to a man that's going to be in your chair 2 weeks from today, literally. Mr. Silas Walker, a man that also was in your era. He is the DBW Global Champion, and he is one of my favorites. And he won. What a clever way he won his match. He won his match. Originally, he lost the match, but it was found that his opponent, who, by the way, loses championship after championship match, had some illegal object in his ring boots, and Mr. Walker retained his title. I'm going to talk about that in 2 weeks, and he's a good friend of Sportswire. And I see Mr. Carnage. I will get to him when we're off the air. Sean Jovi is giving the snow intros. Boy, people are getting fired up right now. The chat is popping. I might just talk to you with the chat all night on Sportswire, the way this is going. James Taylor, I'd like to say hello to everybody. Yes, hello to Silas Walker. James Taylor loves cutting a good promo, and you obviously know how to cut a good promo, so that's just one legend to another. Rad Hazard always goes the distance. Yes, he always goes the distance.
I think that winky face is very important.
Yes, I'm looking at it. I am looking at it, and I am looking at it. And Silas has a good line, which I definitely think I'm going to use next time. Recording a 15-minute promo is a tall drink of water. Good Lord. Yes, good Lord. Definitely good Lord. I hope that Rad Hazard had a drink of water afterwards. Or maybe he didn't. Who knows? And Chris knows I always go Broadway with the wink. I think I know. Listen, I'm not a wrestler. I know nothing about wrestling, but I know what he means by going Broadway. I know what that means. Okay, he doesn't mean Broadway in Manhattan. I know exactly what he means. I definitely know what he means. So thank you for that. Even I know that term, and I know nothing about wrestling. I don't know if I can top the Great Sick Rick, but I'm looking forward to being on Sportswire again. Yes, very soon. I think as soon as these matches are up, that's the plan pretty much. As soon as the matches are up, anybody's welcome to come on. We got plenty of dates available from after Halloween on. So just let's hope these shows are up by Halloween and afterwards, and we can talk about it. And I'm definitely down for it. Thank you, Mr. Rad Hazard. And we'll move on here. Rad was killing it in those in-ring promos all weekend, too. Man wasn't missing. There's a good line there. It's a good line.
Yeah,
And
keep it 100. I mean, there's maybe 3 people that I would consider like the wrestling side of the show MVP of the weekend, and Rad was definitely one of those 3 people. He was outstanding. Everything he did, every movie made, he 100% lived up to everything that I expected of him. Not that I hoped for him, but I expected him to be that good, and he did it. He did exactly what I knew he could. So I loved it.
Oh, and we love Rad, and we want to talk about it. And promos are much easier when you're all doing. And yeah, he did just speak. I mean, he was literally just speaking. I mean, I was actually listening to it, and he was just speaking. I thought I was listening to a podcast instead. Well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing because it means that you were wanting to stay into it. So I really recommend every wrestler. As a matter of fact, let me do this now. I know we have a lot of people in the chat. I want to get to everybody. If you are here right now, go do me a favor. Hit that sub button for Golden Triangle Media. Very simple. All you have to do is go to Golden Tri Media on YouTube. Hit that sub button for me. And you can watch the footage of what this man put out there. Let me tell you something. The work that this man put out, the way to support him and help him get those watch hours, because I actually have the watch hours, because all I do is I'm on Sportzwire. So I got the Sportswire community to get me to the 8,000, whatever million hours I had. Let's get Sick Rick to those hours also. So hit that sub button for him. Yes, hit the sub button for him. Watch the footage, watch the matches, watch whatever it is. You're going to learn if you're a current wrestler, if you were intersecting in the era 10 years ago, just go out there right now and hit that sub button for me. Golden Tri Media. I'm going to leave it up here until we get to some more comments. Boy, the chat is popping. 100%. He says 100% on the promo, and he's 100% back here in 2 weeks, and I'm looking forward to it. And whoever booked that one is a genius, to be honest. You want to confirm or deny?
Mike Damage sent me a really nice text message about how he felt about me as a booker after the show was over. So he 100% believes exactly what he's saying right there. That's a good friend of mine.
Oh, well, we certainly want to make sure our friends are happy. Let's see. Do any of the new guys do death matches? Yes, there's a bunch of guys that do death matches. There's Omen Black, who does one, who's an IMF. There's Ox McCoy, who does one. There's guys like Mikey Anarchy, Jake Dvorak. So, yeah, there are guys that do death matches.
Mike, no. Stop it. Don't think about it.
I'm not doing a death match, so by all means, I mean, there's Mike, Nicholas Benson's done some death matches. He's here in the chat, but does anybody want to die? Is that what it is?
I need Mike to not even think about death matches. He threw one headbutt and thinks that he could do light tubes again. Just rein it in a little bit, buddy.
Well, you can go watch those old Power Rangers episodes with the light tubes there and the Star Wars. Let me say hello to some people. I got a lot of people still on behind with. My buddy Comatose, who's been here a bunch of times this week on Sportswire Radio. I want to give my thoughts and prayers to Comatose. His good friend Logan Adams at his home community unfortunately passed away. I want to say, hope you're doing well, my man. Good to see you as always. Love you, bro. Hope you're doing well. He is now one of these guys who wants to be at the top of the current BYWC, and he does that in beautiful Roseburg, Oregon, in God's country for the shirt I'm wearing, BTW. Let's get to some more comments. And by the way, if you are here, hit the sub button for Golden Triangle Media. I want you to hit that sub button. I want you to watch what these guys did. They did a phenomenal job out there. Let's give it up for Sickrick. Let's give it up for everybody that was at the GBYW and BYW Link show, because they definitely ain't dead yet. Yes. And thank you, Zilla, for the kind words. Maybe we can get to M-Dog 20 to a show. Maybe we can get M-Dog 20
maybe to hang out. I doubt that he works anymore, but we could probably get him there to hang out.
And James Taylor would like to remind people he still does wrestle. Yes, he wrestles like occasionally. Yes, he's still an active wrestler, but he's also a major TikTok influencer. But there is one man I really want to give a big shout out to, and we love James on Sportswire. James is really almost our ambassador of the platform. We really owe James a lot, and he'll be here tomorrow. But I have more comments. Let me get to one guy who, I don't know if you know this guy. There's this guy, Chase Wakefield. Now, he was around in your era. And Chase Wakefield is putting together something. I know you really did something, Mr. Sickrick, that was historic. You had this legendary GBYW and BYW Link show. It's not dead yet, but he's getting married next year. But that's not the point. He's putting together a wedding show. He's going to talk about it here in a few weeks again. He's already unveiled one match, and he wants to just have his wedding as a wrestling super show. And it's really a rather interesting scenario. And I know he wants to speak to you directly And you have any advice for this young man? He might even want you to show up and maybe, I don't know, give an appearance and maybe marry his wife with him, or soon to be wife. I don't know, but I had to give this young man a nice little mention here because he was eager for you to come back to sports. I mean, he has messaged me. I think between him and Sean Jovi, they could flip a coin. And who's been more excited about you coming back?
That's awesome to hear. I don't think I'm familiar with him at all, but
he's from Pennsylvania, not too far from you. Actually lives literally not too far from you. He's wrestled. He's been around, put together his own super show about 4 or 5 years ago. It was a barbecue themed show. He's wrestled in places like DBW, Dominant Breakout Wrestling, VTW, a guy that was around with Silas Walker in your era, probably came in at the tail end of the GBYWN. But, he's putting together this wedding show, which he's obviously very excited about. And I'm obviously supporting it because I support everything. And I support this young man. Yes, I'm all wrestling man. I do support this young man because this young man is obviously allowing me to promote his show on my platform. But then again, I certainly won't hold it against him because he knows that this is the only platform where all wrestling matters. But the point is that he's obviously been very excited about you coming on. He might even want you to show up to his wedding for all I know.
Hey man, hit me in the DMs. You can find me. Make sure you subscribe to Golden Triangle Media, and I'll do.
I can put that link right up there again because I know I got to do my job because obviously my job's already been done. My home community took care of me in Brooklyn, but now we need to take care of Golden Triangle Media and get them some more subs to get them the watch hour so they can, take over. But Sidrick, you'll take over for Sportswire after Sunday. I'll retire and pass the baton to you, so don't worry about that. So if Golden Triangle Media doesn't get the watch hours, I'll pass the baton over. But yes, message him. Let me get to some more comments. I'm a little bit behind.
Definitely appreciate the kind words about the video, though.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, what a turnout. Excellent. It was a great turnout, a great show. And so Sick Rick is he put together a show, James. It's called the GBYWN BYW Link Super Show. It's not dead yet. And his career started over a decade and a half ago, to be exact.
Long time. And I've been out of it for about 9-10 years up until just this couple of weeks ago. So right now I'm more of a free agent than in any specific company. Maybe I am the company. The company is Golden Triangle Media, I guess.
Well, that's a pretty impressive company. 1,250 plus subscribers. I mean, that's a lot of people that do like what you guys are doing. So that's definitely good news. I mean, that's good news. People like you. I mean, I still wonder myself, why do I even have so many subscribers? I have it's definitely not because of me. I can tell you that much. But yes, that's Sick Rick is a legend in our circuit, and we're very happy to have him here. Let me get to some more comments. Hit the sub button, support Nuking Whales. I don't know about supporting Nuking Whales, but I definitely want people to hit the sub button for our friends in Golden Triangle Media. It was his. He has to say that because he asked his better half to actually say if she would go along with it. That's obviously the most important part, right? I mean, could you imagine? No, Secret. Could you have imagined if Chase Wakefield's better half had said no to this show and he still wanted to do the show? He might not be having a wedding. He might be having, let's just say, an ex-wedding wrestling show.
Absolutely a deal breaker, no doubt about it. Mine would probably try to murder me if I tried to pull something like that. So I'm gonna leave the wrestling on one side and the relationship stuff on the other side.
Well, that's obviously the best advice anybody could take, and I do know that there is somebody that is a fan of me. That's a young lady out there that's watching, or maybe she should be watching, but we'll leave that at that for a different time. Yes, we want to say thoughts and prayers to Comatose and his family, and let's just say more comments. I've been watching the dudes doing the wedding show a little bit. They invited me out to that one. Rick, be my +1.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Just as long as we wear matching tuxedos.
Well, I'm going to make everybody laugh before I put back the Golden Triangle Media page up to actually go into some of what we have up there. I've actually never worn a suit ever. I've never worn a suit and tie. Never wore a tuxedo. Nothing. I'm a lifestyle guy. I know people would say, "Well, you got this really big bank account," but I'm very much a lifestyle. I'm a short and t-shirt guy. So I don't like to dress up. And I've worked in the world of politics. That's why I didn't last in politics. It's funny because on my 1,000 subscribers show, all of my former employers who fired me in politics are actually going to now say a few words, and they're probably going to bring that up. That's probably the reason why they're ex-officials and why I'm here on Sportswire. As one of my recent guests said, said, well, you should have been fired earlier. I said, well, you have to ask them that question. But, that's a different show for a different time. But Scott Henson we're going to get to him in a minute, Zilla. I'm going to put the tribute up. We're going to watch it together. And Rick, if you find yourself in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and want to continue wrestling, hit me up, LOL.
Never say never.
Yes, that's always the good line there. Always a good line there. And also, I don't know if I'm supposed to put this out there, but Mr. Rad Hazard says he was invited to the wedding show, and it could potentially turn into a mini reunion. So maybe Rad Hazard knows a little bit about
take over this poor kid's wedding, man. Us hooligans, we're all old. We're gonna fall asleep in the middle of the show. Like,
you guys might need dentures, I assume. You guys might need a sleeping pill or two.
I know that a lot of people regretted not bringing chairs to our show. People were complaining about their knees for standing around for so long and stuff. Everybody had to have their own bed with an air conditioner pointed at them. So,
well,
yeah, we're definitely on the wrong side of 20 these days.
Well, I'll certainly say no comment, but obviously I'll move on to other comments. I got something going on in Florida next year. Sick Rick, I'll be in touch.
Oh, I know you will, brother. You got me.
Well, he's here right now. He's in touch with you technically.
Yeah.
So what Sick Rick was a part of was basically, James, the Global Backyard Wrestling Network. It was basically what it was. It was a conglomerate of 80 different at one time backyard wrestling companies, actually around the world. Some were in Australia, the UK. There was just a slew of great talents, even many of them that were in AEW, Ring of Honor. Tony Deppin's an example. A lot of different people that found their way and went to the big time. As a matter of fact, there's one wrestler you probably heard of named some guy named Will Ospreay. He was technically in the network, and this was a thing. It was mostly, its heyday was in the, I would say, early part of the 2010s, maybe 2010, 11, 12, 9, 8, 7, in that heyday. But for a good 4 or 5, 6 years, this was a thing that a lot of people from all over the place would get together, and Sick Rick was a huge part of that amongst many people at this GBYW and BYW Link Super Show. Rad Hazard, GWC Intensity, our friend Copper Dragon was in it as well for many years, and a slew of other great people. So it was a backyard thing. And then the show that took place, which was September the 20th, we're going to put it up, at least some of the things we can. It was called It's Not Dead Yet. It was a backyard wrestling super show. It took place in an indoor arena. But there's no question that there's a lot of history in the backyard circuit. And James, I'm sure, is going to share some of his memories tomorrow night in the backyard in Texas, because he was from the great state of Texas. And GBYW and Wedding Crashers Edition. That was a good line there by Sean Joby. Very good line there. That was clever. I forgot about that movie. But we'll move on here. Yeah, I'm kind of glad I got to sit around day 2 eating and drinking. LOL. Isn't that the best the way to do anything, right? Isn't that the best thing as such, is eating and drinking? But we'll move on from the eating and drinking comments. Let's put up some of the stuff.
He had a broken bone in his face after day 1. Something about like an orbital fracture or something. His eye was all purple. So like him sitting around just hanging out was probably the best thing for him.
But I would wonder though, Mr. Stewart. Now I know nothing about injuries. I know nothing about anything. But I would think though, if he was injured to that degree, it would be very difficult to be eating and drinking, don't you think?
I think drinking is one of the easiest things to do whenever you're injured.
But eating though, with an orbit injury, I mean, you'd have to see the food.
I haven't had a face injury, so that's a great question. I'm sure that might be you can answer that for us. How did those jawbones react, my brother?
I worked on a radio station for 7 months, and we had on, it was like I interviewed a psychic once, and we were asking them like these weird questions. And I think that was actually one of the questions I asked. Well, what happens when you have like a facial injury and how food ends up? And they were kind of like, well, they were like, you're in a lot of pain. It'll taste like you're in pain. I was like, thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on here. But let's see. Wasn't that bad, actually. It wasn't that bad. That was that bad. Let's move on here. Mr. Taylor would like to say that he would obviously, would like to say that he helped pave the way. And also for his own world in the backyard circuit, he was in there before you were. And yeah, definitely. I'm sure we could swap some informations. And he has his own show, but actually, he's got a good point, because he has his own show called The Nemesis Sessions, and you would actually make a great guest on that. He's got on his YouTube channel 41,000 subscribers. So actually, you'd probably get way more fans by going on his channel, because nobody really watches my show. So if you go on his show, he'd actually talk about his history, and that actually be a good analogy there. So I'll connect you with him.
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go. The 41,000 subscribers. Like, wow, why am I on his show, not this one? But there you go. Well, let's move on. Just sucked to look around. LOL. That was kind of funny. I was surprised when they said I had a fractured orbit wall. That's I guess I wouldn't know. I've never had an orbit injury. Wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. But James is saying LOL. He's just laughing. But James has a great. Actually, James is a great guy. He has a big passion for backyard wrestling. He's been doing it for 26 years. So he definitely. I still think you should go on his show, Sickler, because he really knows a lot. Because I know nothing about wrestling. I'm not a wrestler, so he's a wrestler. He's got those Stone Cold memes on TikTok. You could imagine him running the Golden Triangle Media Instagram and YouTube page. You guys would have 100,000 followers. I mean, can you imagine it? What?
No, people don't like us that much. This guy's beautiful. Look at his little avatar there, man. People
Yeah, and he does
talk
music.
like-
He's got Taffy's Lounge. He has almost 2,000 subs with that. He does music. He does anime. I mean, really, the man does it all, and he still comes on Sportswire. I'm like, why does this man come on Sportswire still? No, we love this man. He has a great passion for our sport, and we definitely enjoy that. Boy, we had so many comments. I think it's time now to get. I mean, you really had a half an hour worth of comments. I mean, boy, let's get though to first of all, let's see this. Let's play it on the screen for the audience. I want to go like this. Go like this. I'm going to put the volume down so let everybody see it. But talk to me now what we're seeing here and just the emotions of coming out here with this.
Well, so right now I'm playing my own music, and you could kind of see me walking back, looking in the bathroom. I was making sure that no one was in there because I wanted everybody to be out, and like I'm breathing, and I have no idea what's about to happen. Point to my best friend, and I'm like, "Let's go." And,
you look good, by the way. You look good.
Thanks. So the song that's playing there was a song that I made with Alex Zane, and he surprised us and showed up to the show as just like a guest. He didn't wrestle. But as I was walking down that entranceway, he's standing there against the wall, and I'm coming out to a song that has him on it. So it was like kind of surreal in that moment where it's like, hey, buddy, I'm listening to our song right now. Like, I'm coming out to it. Isn't that cool? I see him right there with the backwards black hat. But just as soon as I stepped in the ring, the only thing I could think of to say was, what the fuck is this shit? Because it just felt like we're here. Like, what is this? This is happening right now. And then the ring getting pounded on. If you've been inside of a wrestling ring, and after a match, you can kind of lay there and soak it in. But whenever you're just standing there and looking at people and they're beating the mat for you, and like that ultimate sign of like respect and hype, it's just like it almost gets you, man. It came real close to yanking a tear out of me, but I was able to pull it back and like just live in the moment for a minute.
Let me ask you a question, and I think it's an interesting one. I was thinking about it while we were talking so far tonight. How does this compare to when you've been in prior super shows in your career?
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't. The vibe around this show was immaculate. The entire thing was like there used to be a lot more competition and a lot more clickiness and a lot more snide remarks and people heckling. And this show was just so much love. Everybody loved everybody, man. And it was such a refreshing and fun and grown up adult community. Just people supporting each other and happy to be back together. And it was unlike anything I've ever done before.
It's pretty surreal there. I mean, it's surreal to think that. And if you would have said 10 years ago when you were still active that you guys would have had a show like this, would you have believed it?
No, but whenever we were leaving, the last show that happened for our community, technically the last show was BXW Goodbye in 2015, I believe, maybe 2014, but I think 2015. And when we were leaving that show, we were all crying. Like, we were crying and hugging and like, I hope I get to see you again in the future. Like, all of us thought that was it. We were saying our goodbyes to friends that we've made over the course of 8, 9, 10 years because we thought we all graduated from doing this. We're moving on. We're moving up. We're going about our life outside of backyard wrestling. So whenever like there had been a couple opportunities for reunion type shows to happen over the last few years, and they ended up being very small and maybe people not going as hard as they used to and maybe not quite being as excited as they were for this one. But I think that the pandemic really changed people's opinions and the way that they were living and seeing things. And I think because none of us had seen each other since before then, and the time that happened after that has been like a lightning strike. I think that people were so ready to see each other again and so ready to just love and be happy and do what we love and go as hard as they possibly can that, yeah, I just think that it was the perfect storm.
So in a way, then what happened with COVID that year and a half, maybe fueled guys to say, you know what, I want to do this one more time because during that period I was covering British independent wrestling, and I can't tell you enough how difficult it was overseas and what guys went through. But in a way, for everybody here at this show, maybe that motivated you guys. You know what? Let's do this one more time because of just the way time was during that period and such.
It definitely helped. And like, me and my friends doing our podcast and looking back on all of it and realizing that, like, for lack of better words, like, we're not dead yet. We could still do this. Like, there's no reason that we quit outside of like maybe some false sense of needing to grow up. But like, we
Sure.
did grow up. We got past that part. And now that we grew up, why are we not at least doing this once or more again? Like, because we still love all these people. We still keep in touch over internet, Facebook, what have you. So,
Sure.
a lot of that stuff, like, it all stemmed, I think, starting from COVID and like, who knows when, but we have to. And then I think it's just a snowball effect after that.
For sure, and obviously you can see some of those things. And we are here with the legendary Sick Rick. He is the owner of Golden Triangle Media. We're watching a little bit of the Scott Henson tribute. It's not dead yet. The GBYW and BYW Link Show. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. And I want to thank everybody here for tuning in. Please support Golden Triangle Media. They're on the Pro Wrestling Tees page. They have a shirt. Please go out there and support them. Also, hit that sub button for them on YouTube. They would really appreciate that. And we are here also again Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, my 1,000 subscriber special. I want to thank everybody, especially in my home communities, especially in the neighborhoods of Southern Brooklyn, who went out and got 200 people. A young woman, Angela Pink, went out there and told 200 people in my home communities for my hard work all over the years. They don't even like wrestling, but subscribe to Sportzwire Radio. I will forever be in debt to my home communities. Without my home community, I would have nothing, and I wouldn't be here, rightly. So thank you, everybody out there. But we're here watching this package. And walk me through what's going through your mind right now. You're almost looking at it with a laser face. I mean, talk to me about what's going through your mind right now watching this package.
I didn't want to look at any of the guys. I just
Why?
wanted to feel it. Because I didn't want to cry. Like, I wanted them to have, like, I wanted everybody to have their own moment. I was watching it with them as opposed to watching them watch it, you know? And I knew that, like, and it's about to happen. I do, like, because I see Henry crying and I see Combat Kid crying there, and people on the other side are shedding some tears. There's our friend Rad giving some love to Henry. But whenever you look around and you see it, like, you see the tears around the faces of people right here, and it was an extremely emotional situation. So whenever I was watching it, I wanted to watch it with them so I could feel the feelings as opposed to watch the feelings.
Did you think that everybody there would have reacted that way?
I hoped. I didn't necessarily, like, because I never know what's going to happen until it happens. So
Right.
I give my all to something and hope for the best. And I very rarely ever set certain expectations. I just kind of hope, you know? And in that situation, I mean, the way that people reacted was exactly what I wanted whenever I made the video. So it couldn't have gone any better.
I mean, just again, and what a great venue. I mean, just look at what, the work that was put into this. I mean, reminds me of the venue. And you talked about the Internet Wrestling Show. Reminds me of one of these places I've been to when I worked in Manhattan. You go into these big, fancy, like, WeWork buildings, and they had all this set up and different things like that. And just a heck of a building. What a beautiful just setting. And just congratulations to everybody here that took part in this. And, again, your work certainly speaks volumes with that, and we're watching obviously now what goes into the I think the meow salute now, right? We're going into the meow,
Yeah,
the
right.
10 bell meow salute.
And not only was the venue great, but our camera work was outstanding.
Oh my
We
God,
had,
you guys! You really are Golden Triangle Media. That's for sure.
right, right. We rented a few $1,000s worth of cameras for the weekend. We had
Charge it to my
4,
bank account, by the way. I'm sure I
yeah.
can cover
We
it.
had we had 4 different camera angles running most of the time. Now,
Mhm.
obviously, because we're not professionals, there were occasional
Sure.
snafus when it came to media. But every single match has multiple angles in 4K, filmed by somebody that knows what they're doing. Wrestlers didn't have to touch a camera, which is
Wow.
not. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
because in
current.
BYW, everybody's holding a portable phone or a portable
Yep.
Jovi. I mean, Jovi in his home fed does it all the time. I mean, I see guys in here. I think Silas has done it. So just that's so wild that nobody didn't have to do that here at your show. It's pretty cool.
Yep, and we also had, so that was Josh and Dominic mainly on the cameras. I want to give them a shout out, and
Sure.
also referee wise, we had ref Ragnarok, who is I'm gonna be honest, I don't know his name, but he works GTS. He was a ref. Um,
Not to be
Def,
confused with an Australian backyard wrestler named Ragnarok, also actually.
right. So he wrestles in GTS with Rad in them. He was a
Okay.
ref, and then he got hurt, and then he came back, and he's doing stuff there now. But yeah, he refed every single match for us over the course of the 2 days, except for the match that he participated in.
And
Now
talk
that
about
right
this
there, I
trailer.
just gave a big lariat to Marcus Santafonte with light tubes.
Well, that's got to hurt, right?
Yeah, it didn't feel good.
Wow. I mean, this is exciting. Just, I mean, I can't wait to watch some of these matches and just seeing what you guys went through here. I mean, this is like, oh my goodness. I mean, I mean, pro wrestling doesn't have video coverage like this. I have a couple of guys coming on in the independents in Pennsylvania, and I don't even think their cameras are a tenth of what this looks like. My God, my God. I mean, you guys are just, I'm fired up. I'm going to put this back up again because I want to put people to see this again. I mean, just talk about
This
this. I mean,
video was produced by A-List Productions, who
I could
is
see that. They're definitely A-list. They could win an Oscar
yeah.
after what I saw here.
Yeah, he's like a director, man. He does
Oh,
professional
well,
videos.
why am I
He
not
does other
surprised?
stuff. Right. But that's just the great part of our community is we have people that came out doing everything. We have sound production and refs and wrestlers and video guys and editors and communications people. Like we have so many different types of people that came out of our community to go on to do great things in different parts of the wrestling business. So everybody came together to help us put this show on.
Well, I mean, this is exciting. I mean, this is like, am I watching a movie rather than a wrestling, show? We're going to see a super show. This is just, I mean, I can't wait to talk about this on Sportswire. I mean, this is exciting. This is just, awesome stuff. I mean, just, great stuff here. And, we see, I'm going to play, a little bit. I'm not going to play the whole 15 minutes, but here's Rad's promo again. And, just the emotion that Rad came up here with this. And he's even slicked his hair back for this one. Boy, I mean, but, it's pretty emotional. I mean, just some really great stuff on here. Some stuff that, I really want people to check out.
They absolutely should, man. And not only like the pregame stuff that we did, all these promos leading up to the GBYWM World Title match. I have a couple other ones that I'm going to upload before the matches come out. And I do have a plan for the media. So the way that we used to do this back in our day was music videos were king. And it was very important that if you made a show, you had a great music video to go along with it.
Yeah, some feds do that still. Yep, I've seen that. Some feds do that.
So my plan's going to be I'm going to release a couple music videos for day one. There's going to be a day one part one and a day one part two. Then I'm going to release a clip package of the full day, like an extended clip package so people could watch the whole show without watching 5 hours. And then I'm going to, after that, release individual single matches edited from multi-angles and put them all out. And then I'm going to repeat the process for day two. So I'm really digging into like the media coverage for this, but it's mainly because I know that a lot of people in our community like to watch wrestling in different ways. And some people just want to watch a 5-minute music video and other people want to watch a 30-minute clip package of the whole day. And
what do you mean by that for the audience? For the newer people in here, what do you mean by that? And people watch wrestling in different ways. Can you elaborate on that?
Okay, so yeah, a lot of it I think has to do with like attention span and what they want to get out of it. But
Right, right.
some people want short bursts of crazy spots, and they don't care about the
Mm,
downtime or the selling. They literally just want to see the head bumps and the 630s and the light tubes, and like show me all that in 5 minutes, and maybe I'll watch it 3 times in a row. But I just only have 5 minutes to give you right this very second. So impress me in these
right.
5 minutes. Other people like to be a little more immersed, where like I want to see the whole show, but cut out the downtime for me. Like cut out the selling and the walking around outside the ring. Just show me the spots and the story of the match and get on with it, and we'll go to the next match. And then there are yet other people that want to watch it like they're watching a fully produced WWE show where the camera angles switch and they get to see all the movements and the selling and the rest holds and all the stuff. So like because people like different things about wrestling, they want to watch it in different ways.
Interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. That's a good point there. And obviously, that's some of Rad's promo there. I want to pull up a couple of other different things here. And this is actually the Scott Henson tribute itself. This was the 4 minute from Big Cat Scott Henson. And you see some of this here. And this is what you talked about here earlier in the show when you put together this package where you went through 150 hours of this man's footage. That's a
It
lot of
couldn't
work.
even be more than that.
Okay.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of footage. And like just picking the right clips was so difficult. Just I even like reached out to some of the people that were really close to him beforehand, like, hey, are there any specific clips that you think should be in this video? And like this one right there is the overwhelming answer. It was a "You Sunk My Battleship" to Russ Myers at Backyard Fest 7, and I believe that happened in like 2005. But that was
Oh,
one of
wow.
the first like big spots in backyard wrestling, like that we remember as a community. And I think that match was initially like the greatest backyard match of all time, Scott Henson versus Russ Myers. But like
I heard of Russ Myers. Sure.
this clip right here is like what Scott Henson was all about, man. Those guys are doing the Henson hop. Two of those three guys were at the show. They're singing along with Renegade. Everybody's clapping and singing the songs. He's walking around. Nobody actually knows the words to Renegade, so it's just like dun 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 dun. What you hear. Uh, and then just high fives all around because that's who he was. And then we break into the "You Sunk My Battleships," and that was like his big move. Ricky Crash was the huge match to main event Backyard Fest 10 because Backyard Fest 10 was supposed to be the initial like main event of backyard wrestling, at least for our community, and that happened in 2007. So whenever the GBYWN people were able to bring back that chunk of the community in like 2009, 2010, and we got Scott to come to Pittsburgh and some of the other VCW guys and like restart the community. That's kind of what led to the Renaissance era.
Seeing his stuff, I mean, what he could do in the ring. I mean, just he had it all. He had it
Yeah,
all.
everything. Yeah, comedy, character, charisma, ability to
You
bump
sure
and
he didn't do
tell
acting? He,
stories.
he didn't do acting in addition to wrestling.
He should have. I don't know how much he did, but he did podcasts and stuff where he was a very like character driven person, hilarious, very nice. Yeah, just I'll never be. None of us will ever be able to say enough about him because without him, like we're not having this conversation right now. That's 100% a fact.
Could see the specialness through it, and I really want people to watch this when they get a chance and watch all the videos on Golden Triangle Media's YouTube page at Golden Tri Media. Definitely, I mean, you could see just this man's career. I mean, he gave it all. He gave his all to our circuit. He gave it all to our sport, and we mourn his loss. And we will always do our best to remember him. And we will certainly do that when the time comes to honor his career and everybody else that was a part of the GBYW and BYW Link community. And there's no question that people should take a look at this. Let me get to some comments before I talk about your match. And then I have a surprise because somebody wants to say hello to you, and I have to let them say hello. The intro is nostalgic when it comes to the vibe. I miss when the wrestlers surrounded the ring for the big matches and got hella into it. That was kind of like the ECW thing. Was that a big thing in ECW, right? When people would get together and they would bang on them and go like this, right? Wasn't that an ECW thing, right? Wasn't that also ECW?
Maybe Ring of Honor.
Okay. Maybe. Okay. Good enough. But got a little bit of that here. Sean Jovi says, I came back to the ring during the pandemic. Never thought it would change my life again for the better, and it would help so many people. Hey, here we are. Listen, you never know out there. You just never know. It made me appreciate the GBYWN era a lot more. And he's a guy that was in the era, and he's here today. One of those guys, that was in the GBYWN and now is here in the All Wrestling Matters movement. Very, very good stuff. Yes, we definitely mourn Scott Henson, and a young man who only lived 40 years. I mean, we definitely want to pray for all of his friends, his family, and everybody else. And yeah, what a great package! Just great work here. Just incredible work. Yeah, but it's the end. But it's definitely not the end because we love our friends in Golden Triangle Media. Let me get to a few more comments. Rad Hazard is Zilla's favorite wrestler of all time now. So there you go. You never know. You never know.
You're gonna have a lot of good stuff to watch whenever this media gets dropped.
And I know Mr. Rad has spoken to me. He speaks to me on a daily basis, so he'll be here. Spoiler alert. Rad is about as great as Rick, in my opinion. You know anything about this?
Is about as. There's got to be a nice size gap in there, but we'll take it for what it is. Thanks.
All right. Well, you know what? 1 out of 2 ain't bad. I love the Scott Henson video package. Yes, so do we. Yes, I'm going to message you, Mr. Carnage. I know you messaged me on Instagram when I'm off Sportswire in a little while. Well, I definitely want to get you on the platform, definitely in the next couple of weeks. Thank you so much for your support. But I got to ask you in toward the end of the show now is I know we can't talk about how it went, but you did wrestle a match that we spoke quite a bit about last time on Sportswire Radio, just about a month ago, against Mr. Marcus Centofonte. And I wanted to, at the very least, ask you about how did it feel returning to the ring and just overall vibes and how it went from your experience.
So in the absolute no kayfabe way, because last time I dropped a little kayfabe and I
yeah, you did. You went into the we did the promos back and forth. We watched it. Yep.
Yeah. So this time, just real life as a human. Nobody has ever brought out the best side of me like Marcus Centofonte. And the reason why that I would have only had this match with very few people, I would not have wrestled if it wasn't for him or maybe 2 other people that I would have been willing to have the match with. And it's because I know how good he is and what I am able to accomplish when I'm in the ring with him. And the way that we went about planning the match and how comfortable we felt and how good of a story we knew we were about to tell, I had never been less nervous before a match, which is crazy because I hadn't wrestled in 10 years. But we were upstairs geared up, ready to go. And surprise, surprise, I'm going to throw a spoiler out there. We were booked in the main event, but we went first. We ended
Why? We talked about this last time. You were supposed to be the main event. So why did you go first?
So, real life reason why we went first is we wanted to set expectations. We wanted everybody to know if we can do this, you can do this. And this is how hard we're going to go. So we hope that you take our lead and also go this hard. So setting the tone for the weekend is a big reason why we wanted to go first. Also, selfishly, I had a show to run for 2 straight days. So sitting around and waiting and planning and talking about my match and being the last one on did not vibe very well with me having to run 2 days worth of wrestling. Sure. So if I could just have the match and get it over with and move on with my weekend, I was really interested in doing that. And also, this is 10 years of built up emotion. I wanted to be the first thing that the crowd saw. I wanted to feel all that. I wanted to be the first one in the ring or the first 2 in the ring to grab all of that steam and push it in the direction that it needed to go.
Yeah, because some people do say you want to go first to set the tempo. People remember it's the first impression. So in a way, going first, and especially such an historical show, if you went on last at the very end of this, maybe people wouldn't have had the same attention span.
Exactly. And the match that did end up going on last, they deserved every bit of it. It was Combat Kid versus Twisted Outcast.
Yep, we spoke about that.
Ring apart. Yeah, you saw it in the hype package. They ripped the mat up and took the boards off and did a curb stomp on a steel chair. That match.
Maybe that's why they won't come back and wrestle this one again. Who knows?
That match was absolutely insane. So that match needed to go last because those 2 guys needed to be a main event. Marcus and I had already main evented a super show. It was a big one too. Like we didn't need that on a resume, but those two guys are both absolutely outstanding. Both of them are better wrestlers than me or Marcus. And they never got an opportunity to main event a show, either one of them. So I figured this was like a great matchup and a great opportunity to shine some light on two people that I think the world of, and they absolutely tore the house down. It was fantastic.
When you and Marcus are out there in the ring, is it what you envisioned?
Yeah, almost every bit of it. I mean, step for step, everything went to plan. There was one spot with a door that didn't want to break, but that'll be seen in a later date.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I planned in my head, everything that he planned, everything that we talked about wanting to do, we accomplished. We got the exact reactions we expected to get on every single spot. Um, Even down to like him pulling out the hard drive and getting the heat for breaking that. I bladed for the first time in my career, so I had a little bit of color going on. I had all the sympathy of the crowd, which is something that I very
Well, you
rarely have
talked
ever
about it a
had.
little while ago. You were basically 75% of your career. You were a bad guy, but yet you were being cheered. I mean, you weren't used
Yeah,
to being in that spot.
yeah. I had people flipping him off and booing him because of what he was doing to me, and I'm used to being him. Like I'm used to being the guy catching the heat. And then at the end, whenever I hit a couple big moves and the crowd absolutely loses their minds for it, and we're doing the false finishes into the finish and all the stuff, it played like a movie. And like the only thing was that at the very end of the match, I had an opportunity to let something sink in a little more and like slow down. But I think I was just so excited that everything went so perfectly that I was like, yes, we did it. And I kind of like rushed through the end a little tiny bit. And like just looking back on watching the match, I wish I would have just like slowed down and let the moment live for a second and really like breathe it in. But outside of that, I mean, the match was as perfect as it could have possibly been. And like I had my one of my two best friends come up to me after the match and tell like the first thing he said was, "Bro, you better never step foot in a wrestling ring again because you cannot go out any better than that. That was perfect." And like just telling me all the great spots in the match and all the things he loved about it and why it was so good. And whenever you get that type of like reception after a match, you just know you did something, you know? So like I really feel very strongly about the product that we were able to give our community and what we did for them and because of them, you know. I just love it. I'm pretty sure that Marcus Sandovalne feels the same way. We talked a lot. We had a little conversation a few times, and just it was a good moment for both of us and for our whole community, I think.
And that's awesome. I mean, that's obviously what you want to achieve. And, you said something interesting that it's the way it should end. And people struggle with this all the time. We see it in wrestling, we see it in sports. I mean, Michael Jordan had the ending and came back, and Tom Brady should have had the ending. And, and we see it in wrestling all the time. I mean, Ric Flair retired 100 different times. I mean, Stone Cold came back. It was okay, but, there are guys. I mean, The Rock is obviously back out there. John Cena is going to attempt to, do one more run and retire. And, like, if that's from what you're saying, we're going to watch it. We're going to have you back on when the match airs, and we're going to get a chance to like do kind of what they do with the Manning cast, like on ESPN, and talk about it. We'll go through it and such. But I mean, that's pretty high praise that if that was the end, that you couldn't have went out any better way.
Yeah, and I felt like I say that after the match on camera, but also like my friend Hack Edgeman cementing that home, like telling me that I need to not try to do this again because it can't be done any better than what we did. Um, and like I said earlier with Jovi, never say never, right? And I think a big part of that is because I know that there are opportunities that'll tickle my creative fancy, and I will maybe
Well, there's
think
a new
about it.
generation that's been hearing. You've been here twice now, and there's guys that are seeing you. There's people. There's a curiosity factor. I mean, you can't deny that you're getting now into the homes or into the views of people that maybe other than Jovi didn't know what the GBYWN was. James Taylor is an example who's here tomorrow, and he was past your era, but he's still sort of around. He wrestled 2 months ago. He's wrestles periodically. I mean, there are people that see what you guys offer and say, well, you know what? maybe I'd like to meet them or at least pick their brain. I don't know. I mean, there's always a curiosity because now you are getting seen into a new generation's lens.
Yeah, and that's very, very cool. And it's not something that I expected whenever this idea first started. Because the whole idea was just to get our friends back together. I didn't even know that. Honestly, I didn't know how hard I was going to push it. I didn't know what it was going to look like media wise or what it was going to look like hype wise. I just knew that I wanted to get everyone back together. So the fact that it's gone as far as it did, and all the way to the extent of like, I mentioned earlier how when we left BXW goodbye that people were crying and like everybody made sure to say goodbye to everybody. That didn't happen at this show. Yeah.
Well, maybe people feel like that. Why does it have to end? For example, I want to talk, music, for example, is Sammy Hagar just went on tour and people asked him, well, you're doing these Van Halen songs. Eddie Van Halen, God rest his soul, dies. And this is it. This is supposed to be this final little tour. They're going to do, the 80s, the 90s. He said, no, I want to go out there and keep going. Why not? And maybe guys look at this show, the success. We got a chance to taste a little bit of it. Maybe guys feel like that. Why should this be the end? Why should we, if people want it, there's a desire for it, there's a new generation of people that are tuning into it. You're here on Sportswire. There's a new generation of people here. A lot of people watch Backyard Wrestling come on here. And why does it have to be the end? You definitely, it seems to me, aren't dead yet. That's what I gather.
So from what people told me at the show and afterwards, there has never been a setup as perfect as It's Not Dead Yet. Between
I gotta be honest, pro wrestling shows do not have what you guys have when I watch. I'm not blowing smoke.
And even pro wrestling shows have they put all their wrestlers in a hotel. We had a church B&B that fit 20 people. So like, and we all hung out the entire weekend, and the church was a 5-minute walk from the wrestling venue.
Oh, wow.
And in between was a coffee house, a breakfast spot, and 2 pizza places. So it was like we descended upon New Kensington, PA, and completely took over Fifth Avenue for a weekend. And everybody felt that. So like, I was told by so many people that like, we have to do this again. Like literally this, exactly what we did this weekend. We want to do this again because it was that perfect. And like most of the time sequels don't play, but I mean, Godfather 2, right? Bad Boys 2.
Hey, Terminator, Bad Boys is still going. I mean, Rambo's been a bunch of times over. Rocky, I mean, they'll be doing Rockies when they're dead. Kiss has come back 100,000 times. I mean, people love sequels. And, it's funny that you talked about some of these things before we sign off in the air. Speaking of somebody that definitely wants to say something to you, and he has been basically in my grill to basically, he wants to say something to you. And I'm going to give him that opportunity because this man, he means so much to us. And I know that the GBYWN means so much to him. I'm going to give him that opportunity. Very gracious. I know you're an important man, a special man, but I feel like I have an obligation to this man to say something to you. I'm going to do that right now because Sean Jovi wanted to say
buddy?
something to you.
What's up, friend? How are you?
Doing good, man. How are you? I just wanted to
Fantastic.
I just wanted to drop in and say I'm very proud of everything you put together for the show and everything. Obviously, I haven't seen anything yet, but I'm super hyped for it. I can't wait to see what you guys whipped up over that weekend.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, you saw all the work that went into it. You saw all the planning from pretty much day one when the flyers were coming out and all this stuff. You saw it.
Dude, the hype was real.
Yeah.
There was some great video packages.
I think it worked.
Yep.
Like, you guys went above and beyond, and I couldn't be happier with what you've done.
Thanks, man. I'm glad that you stopped in to say hi and talk for a second. We'll have to do a little bit of something off air. I saw you hopped into our Discord the other night, so maybe we'll
I didn't mean to. I was scrolling and I went like, oops, what'd I do?
Gotcha.
I'm gonna back out, but no, man, it'd be cool to catch up sometime, definitely.
Absolutely. No doubt.
And I was watching Sean's match with Rad Hazard. You posted on your channel, Sean.
The
I was
Jovi
watching
blog. Yeah, I was watching that too. It was him, Rad Hazard, and Big Will.
Yeah, you were there. Weren't you one of the surprises that weekend?
Yeah. We told everybody that we were going to see the bragging rights pay-per-view that was in Pittsburgh because it was John Cena versus Randy Orton in an Iron Man match. So we
Oh
told
yeah, I
everybody
remember
like
that.
we
Oh,
can't
yeah.
miss that. Like we have to go to that pay-per-view. We can't come to Indiana, and then we did.
ICW, right? That was it ICW?
Yeah,
Yep.
that was Midwest Extravaganza in like October of 2009 or something like that. November.
Yeah. Pretty much almost to the date, I feel like.
You did
Yeah,
mention that
yeah,
in
it's
your
pretty
vlog.
close.
15 years.
Well, that was fun. That was fun, And Rad looks so different. I think Rad looks younger
No,
now
he
than then.
doesn't. I think Rad looks exactly the same. I think
Yeah,
Rad
he
does.
does. He's got
He's
longer
younger
hair
now.
now. I think he looks younger now than he did then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he definitely looks older then. We used to call him the 35-year-old, 20-year-old.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
is
I
he really
remember
like
that.
is Rad Hauser like 55 instead of 35? Because he looked like in that photo, he looked older than what I've had him on, I think 3 times on Sportswire. He looks older then than now. I don't know how that's possible, but I guess he pulled it off, I suppose.
He's the
He might
backyard
very well
wrestling
be.
Highlander, Tom.
Well, that
Yeah,
could be
right.
so. That could be so. Anything else you want to say, Mr. Jovi? Anything else you want to say? I know you're going to be here Thursday night with a slew of other individuals, but
Oh,
anything else you want to say
yeah.
to say, Rick?
Thank you for everything you're doing. I'm glad you and Tom got to get together and
Yeah,
do
thank
this
So
whole
thank
thing.
you, Sean Jovi. Thank you to you, really.
Yeah.
You really were the one who got its message. I know I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And then you were like, he
Yeah.
was like, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. And
Yeah, I
got
wanted to make sure because, like I said, this is kind of a big deal for like the community and everything. And I really suggest like everyone in the community, modern day, checks Rick out here
Well, I think tonight
because
there was a lot of people that tonight there was a lot of people that tuned in. I think there was
I
a
was
lot of
happy about it.
Yeah, tonight a lot of people I think were excited about it. There were people messaging me about it. I felt that people, I think do understand the history of, before we sign off the show, I do think, we wouldn't be here without guys like Sick Rick and guys like Chris Carnage who were here and, Marcus Centofonte, Mr. Rick's opponent and Rad Hazard and Combat, all these great other individuals that were in the show. They were there first. And I always think it's important to, show an appreciation to those that were here that laid the foundations for what, is current today. And I think that it is very important to, pay that respect. And I believe if it wasn't for those guys that, we wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, no
Agreed.
doubt about it. And there's so many people. Like the list is literally unnameable. I tried to do before the show started. I put out a list of about 120 backyarders because I wanted people to rank them, and I wanted to do a BYW 100 similar to. Like,
it's funny you said that because I don't want to name some. There was an individual that was like, "You got to do a BYW rankings." I'm like, "No, I'm good, bro. I'm not doing no rankings."
Yeah,
because one
that's
guy's
how
gonna
the
get mad.
BYW
He's on a
ranks started.
trampoline. He's not on a tramp. He's on a mat. There's gonna be this wanker and that wanker that gets mad on my Instagram post already. That's going on right now. One guy is getting mad because a guy's on a trampoline, and then they're going back and forth about wrestling skills. So it to me. Look, you want to go out there and do what you want. God bless you. That's the way I look at it.
I agree with that, but also like the need for competition in anything like this is very real. So that's why people want rankings. Like they want to know where people think they stand and who they have to
I
catch
understand.
up to.
I understand, but you know what? I got to be honest. But then people get mad. Well, you didn't rank me a certain number. So it's like to me,
I feel
I'd
that
rather
it is a heavy burden, but for somebody that's willing to do that, they're also the type of person that's willing to say, "Well, then get better." Like.
But then guys get mad and take. See, the problem is there's too many guys in backyard and underground that they take it the wrong way. So the best thing I can do is Copper Dragon does his ratings, out of 7 stars. He'll rate your match, and I think that's the way I'm going to let that stick. If people want to do a ranking, they're up to it. But for me, I got too many people, and I still have pros that come on the show. I have 3 pro wrestlers coming, 4 actually, in the next 2 weeks. So for me to go and do that, it's not going to do me. And I have Jimmy Controversies here Thursday afternoon. That's 5. I have 5 pro wrestlers coming on in 2 weeks. So now for me to do a rankings, do I then include pro wrestlers? I have British wrestlers coming back in 2 weeks. I'm doing a charity show that I'm supporting. I mean, so, like you can't, to me, look, if people want to rank, it's up to them. But, that's kind of the way I look at it,
Yep.
But, all right, Mr. Jovi, good to see you. I wanted to let you have a few minutes before we sign off. And anything else you want to say, though? Anything else you got for me? You want to say see you Thursday? Anything else you got?
I can't think of anything.
Well, then we'll see you Thursday. Maybe you'll
Nice to see
remember
you,
on
Joey.
Thursday.
Yeah, sounds good, brother.
All right, that was Sean Joe. We wanted to give him a couple of minutes before we sign off there, but obviously he wanted to pay his respects. So we've talked a lot tonight. And so what's next for Sick Rick then? I mean, you've got this show. I mean, you answered what maybe will come, maybe, but in the immediate future. I know we're going to have these matches. Guys are going to come on here, I'm sure, over the next few months. But what is your immediate future?
Man, I'm going to save money because I've been spending it like crazy through this whole show process.
I'm sure.
I'm going to do a little rehab on my right arm, make sure we get that back to where it needs to be. The Pittsburgh winter is about to hit really hard.
Yeah, today here in New York, I don't know what it's like by you, but it was all of a sudden I was in my shorts and T-shirt, and today when I did the video just before to bring you on, it was like, boy, is it winter now again?
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's here, but also already announced at Backyard Wrestling, it's not dead yet. One of our other guys, Tommy Flambeau, who is an even bigger name than me, Central PA, older generation Backyard Wrestling Link guy. He announced that he currently owns the property that XWA used to be filmed on. And
I know XWA. I remember hearing about them. Sure.
So yeah, so they were like the hottest thing going in the BYW Link era for a while, and he is running XWA Resurrection 7 in July next year. So I kind of started a tidal wave of our community. Like, we are absolutely going to be doing this again. So like, it might not be in Pittsburgh, but all the media is going to run through Golden Triangle Media. I'm going to be just as involved as I was for this show in terms of booking and helping and figuring stuff out. It's just not going to be on my land, and I don't have to be the one that's in charge of anything. I just get to be along for the ride more so this time. But yeah, I mean, so the sequel is happening next year in Dover, Pennsylvania in July.
I wanted to ask you one follow-up. You talked about media. Is podcasting something that you want to do more?
I would like to, but there was a lot of stuff that happened with our previous podcast setup that we were running, and
Jody showed me that he months ago he messaged me. This is not before we connected, about like a month and a half ago, but like several months ago he showed me what you guys were doing, because I obviously do this, and I was wondering if that's something in your immediate, because that doesn't really have any pain. Doing a podcast, you won't be any shoulder pain and such, maybe holding the microphone, I suppose, but you don't hold the mic. I do. But I was wondering about that. Why not so much a podcast then?
So one thing is that our podcast studio that we had built is in the house of one of my two best friends, and he had a baby right around episode 10. So there's a lot of new stuff going on in that house right now. And like,
gotcha. Okay, you don't got to explain it. I live with my brother. He's got 2 kids. I got the deal.
So like, we're working on figuring out how that's going to look. Also, maybe a new way of going about how we were doing it. It was a lot of work and a lot of effort, and the video.
It's a grind doing a podcast. Listen, I mean, I'm doing this 6 years. I mean, I understand. It's I started on Skype. I was on SoundCloud. I didn't sound like this. It was. I know it's not easy. A lot of people give up. I just had the grace of God, and I just hit the lottery 4 days ago in my own community. I basically won a lottery ticket 4 days ago, because we had a woman, like I said, that just decided, you've been good. You've always, I've been there. I helped out a lot. A lot of people know me, and, I won a lottery ticket. But a lot of people do podcasting, don't win the lotto. I tell people that all the time.
And I think that very well is still going to be part of what we do. We're still going to occasionally drop podcasts, but that was like all of our content previously.
Gotcha.
I think I'm drifting a little bit more towards like hosting wrestling events, potentially being what our channel is about, which isn't really what I expected whenever I started, but also sporting events and stuff. A lot like, it's very similar to like Sportswire radio type of concepts,
Yeah, I think that's, people like the live format. I mean, I think people gravitate to that. They want live, instant reaction. I started as a true podcast, but this was 6 years ago. It's a different world now than what it was then, but people gravitate to the instant reaction. So you might have, I don't know. I mean, listen, listen, the future is endless. I know one thing. We would love to obviously have you guys come on anytime. I know Carnage, I'm going to message, and anybody else that's here, I'm happy to connect with anybody. I really want to watch these shows on the air. I'm really excited about that. I mean, I'm very excited to see what you do. I want to have you back on when your match airs here. Hopefully in the next few weeks it'll come up, and anybody else, they're more than welcome to be here. So I'll probably save some of those other questions until we watch the matches, because I feel like it's still to be continued. Even Rad
Yeah,
was telling me,
absolutely.
because I spoke to Rad I think about a week ago, and he said he wants to come back once his matches aired, but he can't come on until the matches aired. So it's kind of like
I know exactly why too. It's very important that we get those played out there for him.
yes, he kind of told me without telling me. I mean, I actually do kind of know what it is, but I really can't say. Else he'll shoot me. He probably would, because he actually works not too far from where I live, actually. So I really can't, say anything. But yes, definitely. I think a lot of things I want to ask you about, I kind of have to leave that for the next appearance in a few weeks. But let me ask you, though, one more question before we move on. Is there anything that you want to say to anybody who was at the show or who wrestled there? Is there anything you want to say to them until next time?
Uh, Thank you for believing in my vision, man, because like everybody gave me so much credit, dude. I've never felt so appreciated over the course of 3 days as I did during those 3 days. Um, so many people took time out of their weekend to come talk to me individually and have one-to-one heart-to-hearts, even if it was just for a few seconds. But like just the questions that I received, like, dude, you really pulled this off. I'm so glad that it was you. This is one of the best things I've ever been to. I needed this in my life. I was on such a bad path with like just my mentals were hurting, and now I'm here and I feel loved by my family. And like it was just such an emotional roller coaster of everybody thanking me that like I didn't really get a chance to tell them. I mean, at least I don't think I did, but like I just gave them the opportunity. All of them had to believe in me and take the opportunity. Like they had to get in their cars and come to Pittsburgh and believe that I was doing something that was worth their time and effort. And the fact that so many people not only thanked me and were so appreciative of my effort, but they put out their own effort to come be part of this and give me the show that I wanted to have, because like I could have made all the plans in the world, and if nobody shows up it's just me and 3 friends with a bunch of cameras. Like we needed every single person that was there contributed to the environment and to the show and to the love and to everything that we wanted it to be was because of everybody. It was not because of me. I put in the most legwork to make the show happen, but the
Sure.
success of the show had very little to do with me and a whole lot to do with who our community is and the people that are in it and what we all bring to the table as wrestlers and humans and brothers and friends. And it could not have been anything without them. So like as much as they thank me, I thank them.
No question about that. And there is no I in team, and everybody, it's always a team effort. That's why I'm always a believer in that. And it's well said. And I really can't wait to watch some of these matches as they're put on simultaneously. You can go to the Golden Triangle Media YouTube page, Golden Tri Media. They're on Facebook, Instagram. Also, if anybody wants to add me as a collaborator on Instagram, by all means, please do that. And also go to the Pro Wrestling Tees page. Also, this Sunday I'll be promoting it throughout the week, is my 1,000 subscriber special. So if Sick Rick wants to take over Sportswire after that, he can certainly do that. I'll pass the baton to him. He'll have a built-in following. People will want to talk to him most so than me, because he's got a better voice. He's better looking. He's got more fans. He can wrestle. So obviously that'll be all great stuff that I hope you tune in. If you want to say hello, say a few words. I appreciate it, and I can't thank everybody enough for their support. But please support our friends over at Golden Triangle Media, and also James Taylor is here tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern time. But I think we've got the point for now. I'm excited about the future. I want to pass the baton to you, give you some closing thoughts, and anything else you want to plug, share, or say, and take it away, my friend.
It's Not Dead Yet was one of the greatest weekends of my entire life. No matter how many times we do this again, I'll never get that feeling. And the amount of time that I missed with some of my friends hurts, but knowing that we are now like reconnected and I'm talking with people regularly that I haven't talked to in years, all of this supersedes anything wrestling related. It's just all real life human interaction stuff that like you don't realize you're missing until it's gone for a long time, and then you get back into it and you're like, damn, I really have 100 brothers that are all willing to do whatever for me, and we don't even live in the same state, and we see each other barely on the internet, you know. Um, so those type
Well,
of
you can
things.
always come on Sportswire. I'm here every day. I mean, people wonder if I'm an AI version. So you can always come here every night. I mean, I'm always here. But I
So
get the point. I get the point.
yeah, the stuff that I got to do with those people that weekend, every second of it is gonna be very strongly burned into my memory for the rest of my life, and I can't thank everybody enough for it. And as far as the Pro Wrestling Tees store, man, Matt Nix works for Pro Wrestling Tees. He owns
Sure.
Freelance Wrestling, and he went out of his way to fast track my Pro Wrestling Tees store and get it approved and get the shirt approved the night that I designed it and put it up. So he is a very big part of why the store worked out as well as it did, and I'm extremely grateful to him for that. And yeah, buy the t-shirt, subscribe to Golden Triangle Media, maybe even go listen to some Rick Keller music on YouTube, because that's out there too. Just do the stuff for your boy, because I worked really hard and I would like to work harder on YouTube than I do as a chef.
And I tell you what, I know there are people out here, still a bunch of you still here on X, on Twitch, on YouTube, on my internet radio station. But if you have a chance, go hit the sub button and watch some of this stuff so we can get Sick Rick those watch hours, and he can start generating some revenue, and he can go out there and maybe do some of the different things, like maybe more podcasts, more live content, more different things. So definitely, please go out there and support those that support us. Sick Rick has been so gracious with his time tonight. He has spent almost 2 hours with us. Let's give it up, fam. Let's give it for everybody on the show. Those guys and gals that did a fantastic job out there, and I can't wait to meet some of them. I can't wait to talk about some of these matches and get a chance to hear from a new generation of talent that obviously we wouldn't be here without them, and I can't thank them enough for their support and the opportunity to be with us here on Sportswire Radio, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the past, and I can't wait to recognize all that. So one more time, please go out there and hit that sub button for our friends at Golden Triangle Media. They definitely have got it going on. They've definitely got some of the best stuff, some of the best video packages. You get a whole bunch of stuff there, history, you name it, it's all there. Please go out there and support them. And my friend, congratulations on a historic show. Congratulations on all the success. I'm definitely looking forward to having some of the guys here as the matches get put up here over the next couple of weeks and dive into this throughout the what's expected to be a rather cold winter. Maybe it won't be so cold, but the fact is we'll warm things up regardless with some of these great matches, because you guys are definitely not dead yet, and the best is yet to come. And I have no doubt we're going to be speaking a lot with you for the next several years to come and some. So thank you for all that you've done for us. And maybe next time you come back on, and maybe next time when you have a match to talk about, maybe I'll put you in the Hall of Fame.
Oh man, I'd be a 2-time Hall of Famer at that point. Rad Hazard put me in the GBYWN Hall of Fame back in 2012.
Well, maybe you have that match for your next appearance, and maybe we'll make it a 2-for-1. We'll watch your match, and we'll put you in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. How does that sound?
Hey, listen, man, I'll take any spot like that somebody's willing to bestow upon me.
Well, you can consider that done. That's just a no-brainer. But yeah, we'll definitely do that. That'll be a date. Sounds like a deal. And that was, ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Sick Rick, of course, one of the men that has been behind the historic GBYW and BYW Link Super Show. It's not dead yet. These guys are definitely not dead yet. Let me tell you something. They did a phenomenal job here. And also, he is the owner of Golden Triangle Media. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. If you're on sportswireradio.org, I thank you very much for tuning in. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, and X, I'll also be on. I'll be on here tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern time with James Taylor. James Taylor is the owner of ROEW. We'll talk about his wrestling career in 1998, and we'll go down memory lane, and we'll have fun with that, I'm sure. But also this Sunday, I'm here 8:30 p.m. with my 1,000 subscriber show. After that, Sick Rick can take over. But until then, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one Global Radio. Isn't it? It's Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. And please, one more time, hit that sub button for our friends at Golden Triangle Media. Thank you so much, my friend. We'll definitely be in touch. Love to have you on, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thank you so much.